Yo, what is up there, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Eddie, also known as Driveway Built 460. In today's episode, we're obviously back in the office, and we are going to be working on some upgrades to the Lexus GX460. Now, what I have in front of me, as you guys can already see, we have a company called DryMat who makes car multimedia systems for certain vehicles. They've reached out to me and they want to partner up and have me test out and review. Yes, this is yet another radio that we're adding back onto the GX460. This will give us the opportunity to have more options for us in the market. That being said, let's get right to it. Let's open the box and see what comes inside. Real quick, I want to show you guys multimedia navigation model for GX460, and that's 360. That means if you have a 360 camera, this would also work with that. The years they work with, sorry guys, my 2020 guys to 2021 doesn't work, unfortunately. Screen size 12 and a half, so 2000 by 1200, 880, 8 cores, Android system. Yes, it's an Android operating system. RAM, 6 gigabytes of memory, and 128 gigabytes of storage. I forgot to show you guys the front of the box. So that's what that looks like. So we already have an idea of what we're working with. So let's see here. Okay, out the box, we're greeted with what looks like an instruction manual, so to speak. Let's take that off, take off this cover, and here's the unit itself. Whoa, okay, so this is... All right, so let's see. And look at that. Let's take a look and see what the knobs all sound like. All right. So cool. If you guys have already seen it, this is the GX550, their screen. And then the backside, we'll take a look at that. All right, so we have ports along here, radio, more connections there. Looks like an optical coax, power plug, and more connection here. And it looks like this snaps on. So this looks to be, well, let's see, let's do some more digging. Let's put this to the side. Okay, so this is what I'm used to. And it looks like this is gonna be a two-piece design, because here is the case or the shell, and here it is. Pretty cool. Hazard, our fan controls right here. And it looks like we have USB ports. That's pretty nifty. And then we turn this around on the other side. Okay, so our ducts are here. It looks like we can take off the ducts if we have to. And then we have more connections back over here. All right, so we have that. So let's set this to the side. And then we have more cables. And this like the main harness. It says it right there, main harness. These looks like they're labeled, which is good. We'll take a closer look at that. And looks like we have zip ties and more likely our ventilation insulation tape here. This is the main harness. Well, okay. 2010, 2011, it should be 2010, but 2011, 2013 GX460 main harness. Looks like we won't use this, so I'm going to put this to the side since, again, it says right there. We're not going to utilize this because we don't have a year. We don't have a 2011, 2013. Ours is a 2015, so I'll put this harness to the side. And that looks to be about it. All right, so everything is laid out for us. We're going to go from top to bottom. So let's see. So they've already included insulation for our vent ducts. We have that. Zip ties. They even included one of these guys, which is going to be a pry tool. And they included some gloves. So we have our speaker here. GPS antenna. The 4G data antenna. Our aux RCA cables. We have two USB cables that comes with it. This is more likely this is the video signal for our backup camera. And it looks like this is going to be your audio cable here. And of course, the main power connection. Now, if you guys have seen my last video, what I like to do is make our connections now before we place this back into the vehicle. This just rules that out, and it just helps you narrow things down when it comes to the installation process. So let's go ahead and make the connections. Now I know this looks like it's a lot of work, but it really isn't compared to what I've done before in the past. What's nice is DriveMat also offers a instruction manual, and it's pretty detailed about what they offer. You guys can freeze this, you guys can pause the screen and read if you guys like. And it also gives you a diagram of what knobs does what. And also what's important is right behind here. Sorry for the glare. It also labels exactly which connection goes where. And right behind here, it even goes into details about which wire does what. And then it gives off details and pictures about what to do in terms of taking off the panels. So this is pretty neat. It even shows you exactly which plug goes in where, so this is very useful. And then of course, more details about that, and then back up the casing over here, along with the audio cables. So this will definitely come in handy, because again, this will show you exactly how this is going to be connected. So we're going to use this as a template to connect the wires right now. And that's basically it. So awesome. All right, so let's see here. So I'm gonna grab this bundle here first in terms of connecting our connections. This is gonna be our mic. So I'm gonna grab the main power wire here, because according to the diagram, these two here goes together. So let's connect that. So we have the first one. And then the second one is gonna be the audio cable. Obviously we have, this is auxiliary right and auxiliary left. We're gonna go ahead and place this with the ones right over here. So audio in, audio out, and audio in. So we want to go audio out more than likely. And then let's move on over here. Obviously we have our camera, so cam VIN, and then we're gonna just match it back over to the other cam VIN. So we're gonna put the two yellow one plugs back together, and that's going to complete this whole entire kit for now. And the rest, I believe, connects back into the radio itself. Okay guys, so I know it looks like it's a lot that's going on here, and it is, but trust me, follow along, we're gonna get through this. I've already kind of organized wires where they should go as far as the connections here. So the first one we're gonna put in is gonna be the, looks like the canvas plug connection, and that's gonna be this guy right over here. It's a 8-pin, and it's gonna be the red and black and yellow and black plug. So we're gonna go ahead and put this one in first. In. And the next one is going to be the USB connection. It's going to be a 4-pin, and that's going to go right next to it, and that's snapped into place. And then our next one is going to be the other USB connection, and this is going to be a 6-pin. So these, you can't mess this up. As long as you're organized, everything goes smooth. And then we have our, looks like our BT antenna, also our backup camera. This is going to be next. And we're just going in a row, so this shouldn't be anything difficult. Next one's going to be our audio cable, and that's going to go right in this slot here. And that's going to be it. This slot's going to be open. We don't have a use for that one. I'm going to move on over to over here. This is where it says power. So let's find the main power harness here. It's going to be the black connector here, and that should connect right here. And it does. And then we also have this part here. This is going to be for a monitor. So this is going to be the, again, the main harness here. And then we'll connect that right there, like so. So all the main connections are done. If you're using a external amplifier, you can use these ports for that. There is a USB port that's right there. And then a radio for the radio antenna. And we'll go back over here. We have our GPS and our 4G antenna, so we can connect those right now. Oh, I forgot. So the main harness has the radio antenna. So this is gonna go right here. Because this line here goes back over to the one that's gonna hook up to the back of the antenna for your FM and AM radio stations. If you're planning on using a SIM card for this, you have the option to. This is the SIM card tray for that. You just push this little cover to the right and then pull the cover over. There's your SIM card slot. I have to say, this has been really helpful. When it comes to me trying to install things, I'm very much a visual person. So having this and along with just if you read things, this will help you make the installation a little more easier. So kudos to DryMat, this is very helpful. I also want to preface that this came out from my OEM radio. We'll be using this along with the installation. And if you guys are curious where this came from, refer back to my other video about the other installation for the other radio, and you'll see exactly where this is coming out from. But what we'll do is we're going to grab the main harness. I'm going to connect it right now. It's going to be a gray plug, and it just basically hooks up right into it, just like so. So that way we don't have to worry about that. So we're pretty much done. Let's go ahead and put this all together, put this back into the car and get this going. So real quick, it looks like I'm going to route the wires in between the ducts here. So we're gonna do that. So all the wires we're gonna grab is gonna get routed through here in between this space here and all the way back to the back over here. And we'll clean that up and make it look nice and neat. But for now, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna put this piece in, more than likely all together, and snap this in place because this is where it's gonna snap into the shell here. Okay, so here we go. Let's go ahead and start putting things in between the duct here. It's gonna be relatively tight, but I feel like we can make it work. What I don't want to do is just shove everything in there, because then that's how you get all the wires all tangled up. So let's not try to do that, because once we start pulling wires through, we want things to be nice and smooth and not have to untangle wires because we just pushed everything on through. Remember, it's all about organization. So once we have all the wires in, it's just a matter of getting all the wires through this cavity so we can sandwich this two-piece connection here. It's like a combination of pulling the wires right behind here. So we're gonna get this. It's gonna go in. Okay, we're getting there. It's getting closer. Let's see here. Just have to make sure that everything just lines up. Okay, there's that, and there's that. So at this point, it should just snap into place. Okay, we have one. Okay, so we're in. So that is not going anywhere. That is fully snapped in. Let me bring you guys closer to what it looks like. Alright guys, so this is what it looks like. I'm gonna move this out of the way. I was using this as a stand. So all the wires are all the way through. We have our main power harness, our audio cables, radio antenna, looks like our monitor to our radio here. So we have the RCA plugs, which we're not going to use. This is going to be either the airbag or the hazard lights. One of these are the two. So we have that. Our USB cables are here. Our GPS antennas are all along this bundle here. So this is the back. So this is what it looks like when it's all done. And let's go back over to the front. And this is what our front of our unit looks like. What do you guys think? It looks pretty sleek. I mean, I've always been a fan of the GX550, so having the ability to have this into my GX will definitely change the way it looks. But yeah, pretty cool. But we're done with this part, and I'm excited. I don't know about you guys, but let's jump back into the GX and get this installed. All right, so let's not forget about our ventilations. Let's go ahead and place the felt pads over here. This will just ensure a nice proper seal so we don't have to worry about air escaping. All right, so we're good. All right, guys, so here we are again. If this looks familiar to you guys, it's because it is. We weren't here not too long ago, so this is all very fresh, and taking off everything off from this was just like second nature to me. But anyways, I do want to let you guys know there are two connections that are here. It says camera power, cam 12 volt, and this one here I can't tell, but it looks like we're not utilizing these two connections here, so we're gonna set these to the side. So I wanted to preface that and let you guys know. Coming back over here to the OEM connections, we are looking at just these main four connections. We have one of these is gonna be the airbag and the hazard lights, our monitor here, and then our canvas here. And then back over here, we have our main power, audio, and our antenna. I've already laid out most of the wires for us to get this installed. So let's see, we have our GPS and our antenna, our GPS and our 4G antenna. I'm gonna put those back up on top of here, like I did all the other ones. And then we're going to hook up the rest of the connections onto these along with the main power plugs over here. So this will be the last and towards the very end. We did the prep work earlier, so this just makes the installation go by smoother. So let's see here. I'm gonna grab what looks to be either my hazard or my hazard or the airbag light. And I'm just gonna look, and it looks like it's gonna be this one here. So let's connect these two together. So we have one. And then let's see here. Let's grab this connector here. This is gonna be coming off from the main power line, and they should go directly into this black connection here, just like so. And then let's see here. This is two. All right, so let's see. This one should go right here when it does. And I think that's it. Let's see here. All right, so this goes to our audio. And of course, the larger one is our main power harness. We have that. And what's nice is we have plenty of line to work with. So let's see here. We need to figure out if there's a home for this canvas. I don't think I saw that earlier. All of our connections are already made. Okay, so I went through the instructions. I didn't see anything about plugging this in. So I think if I had the 360 camera, then I can utilize this. But because I don't have that option, so we can go ahead and leave this out because normally this has a home, but for this unit, it doesn't have that. So it looks like we are just about wrapped up. So our OEM mic connection is here. Remember, we also have that external mic. So you have the option of using the external mic or using the OEM mic that came with this, which we're going to use that. And I think that's it. Let's see here. I do have, and this is just for my own purpose, I have a front camera. And I don't know if this is going to work, but let me see here. So there's a F CVBS in and also a CVBS in 1. So I think one of these connections here will work with a front camera. I don't know. I'm just gonna take a gamble. One thing I do want to know is there's a USB connection that was in here, and I have access to that from looking at it through here. I wonder if I can be able to utilize this and have a USB connection from USB-C to HDMI and use that for the digital cluster back here. I guess one way to find out, right, is to test it. Well, I don't have a USB-C to HDMI connection, so that's just plausible for now. Whether it works or not, I don't know. But either ways, I don't use that feature, but it would be nice if it was, because if those of you guys who do have the digital cluster and do utilize that, that may be beneficial for you guys. But I feel like most of these radios are all made in the same location, if you will, and so it might work. The Hamilton radio, unfortunately, didn't work with that. So there's that. So, and also the Hamilton radio doesn't have the front camera option, at least not yet. So I'm hoping that this will work with this radio. So let's see here. Antenna. So there's that connection. And then let's grab the audio cable. So we have that connection there. And I can just route this cable right behind here. And just again a reminder, I'm not gonna take off this whole entire main radio harness, the main radio unit here. I don't need to. There's enough room, and also there's enough slack from this radio to where I can feed it to the back without removing this unit. Because I just feel like it just creates more drama and more connections for us to have to undo. So we don't want to do that, or at least I don't want to do that. So let's connect this big bad boy here. Nope, goes the other way. All right, so for this step, I'm just testing it out to see if it's going to work or not. So recall the unit having that USB-C port. I went ahead and I plugged in my adapter here because it has three separate ports, a USB-C, HDMI, and a USB-A port. I'm going to plug the HDMI port with this plug over here. This goes directly to my digital cluster. And we're gonna test and see if this is gonna work with my digital cluster. So, but we'll see if it actually works, and we'll see if it's gonna be able to mirror the image from the radio over to the digital cluster. All right, so everything is all in place. All the connections are all made. I was able to get the HDMI from the digital cluster to fit onto the dongle back here. It was a really tight squeeze, but we made it work. Let's turn this on for the very first time and see what it does. And hopefully it turns on. So before I start putting every single trim piece back on, let's see if it works. Okay, so that's the boot up screen, I guess. 13. I'm sure we can be able to change that. Okay, Android. And all right, right on. So this is our home screen. So let's see here. All right, so this is relatively new to me. So let me see here. Let's go back to, I think this is the home button here. Okay, that's not doing anything. Let's see here. Let me scroll over to the right. Okay, so here's all of our apps. And again, this is going to be our home screen, right? So car volume's doing something. So ADAS recorder, App Store, aux, Bluetooth, calculator, CarLink, Chrome, steering wheel controls, equalizer, file manager, gallery, Google, and the rest. And we even have YouTube there. Well, we have sound. So let's see here. Let's just turn this down for now. All right, so let's see. So what I generally look when it comes to these type of radios is my number one thing is one, it has to have CarPlay, and two, the ease and use of having my climate control. So obviously we have some physical buttons here, touch screen here for that, and there's that. And then third for me is going to be having sound because I love listening to music. So whether it be radio or whether it be using my Spotify account and whatever media sources that I would use, I mainly listen to music. So I love having music. And then fourth is making sure that the apps like YouTube and Netflix also works because like most of you guys, I have kids. And so they love watching movies from my screen here. So having the ability to have that, whether it be YouTube or Netflix, is great. So let's see how the climate control works. So I'm gonna just turn this dial here. Okay. Now you're figuring this out just like how I am just now. That's doing nothing. So let's turn that on. Oh wait, my car isn't on. So let's turn it on for now. Okay, that did something. All right. So let's see here. Let me bring. It says 25.5. I don't know what that means. But okay, that's doing nothing. There's a fan. There's an arrow here. What's this arrow here? Ah, okay. So there's our climate screen there. So you have your different modes. What looks like an error for the car. Automatic climate control. You also have those two sections there. On and off switch. Rear, third zone climate control, AC. Front defroster, rear defrosters, and then our. All right. So this is the touchscreen. And it looks like you can use this. That controls the fan speed. That also controls the fan speed. Recirculate and non-recirculating. Dual climate control. Okay, so let's see here. Let's see if the rears work. Turn that on. Okay, I can hear the fans in the back kicking on. Turn this off. And it just shut off. So I don't know what this 25.5 is. Maybe there's a software update that we can fix this, but it seems like when the climate controller is turned off, this pops up. Now let's see here. I'll mess with this for now. So let's see. So this also controls our temperature. There's no buttons here. Oh wait, hang on. I just did something. Is it on both sides? It is. So if you press on the knob itself, it changes the. You can do both. You can do either the climate. You can do. You can either change the fan speed, as you can see there, or you change the temperature. Pretty neat, right? So again, you can change the temperature. Well, that's the rear. Let me see here. Let me go back up to the front. Here, or here with the dial, with the knobs here, or control the fan speed here. So that's pretty cool. So you don't have to utilize the screen, the touch screen, to turn on your fans or to control your fans. You can use the knobs to control the fan, whether it's going to be turning on the fan and the fan speed or changing your temperature. So automatic climate control. Okay, that seems to work. I hear from the rear. Let me go back to the front. Maybe because I haven't had it set right, so. Okay, so recirculation, that works as well. All right. So let's see. So if I press this button here again, or touch this, that brings me back here again. All right, so that's pretty cool. So let's see what else can we do. So that is our climate control. That works. Max AC. I don't think I had that set up, at least not for myself. There we go, that ramps up. That's gonna be for our front defroster for the windshield. Let's turn that off. All right, so simple, simple, simple. I like the image that it brings out here for us. So things are up on top. So if you're used to having Android, this is gonna be your back button. This brings you back to the previous page or back over to whatever it is that is the home screen, which is here. The circle icon here, this is going to be your home screen. So for example, let's say we were at, okay, so there's nothing that's opened up in terms of apps. But let's go back to the climate control. You press back on the home button here, this brings it back over to the home button, the circle button here. And of course, this button's going to be for your apps like this. You can go ahead and kill the app to clean up the cache or the space in the radio itself. It even displays my battery voltage here, our outside temperature, which is 57.2 degrees Fahrenheit, and then Bluetooth, our volume, and our time. I don't think that's correct though, because right now it's about 9 in the morning and it's 6:37, so we gotta fix that. So let's see, what else can we do here? So we have more controls back here to the right. Our navigation is there, obviously, since I don't have internet, it's not connecting to that. Let's go back. I don't know what that is. Oh, nice. Okay. So this is a Land Cruiser Prado, which is basically what I'm driving now. It's just how we have the US version, so it's the Lexus GX460 versus the Land Cruiser Prado. I wonder if we can change that. Let's see. So CarLink, so it's gonna give you a few things. So this is gonna give you a little description here. It says location is gonna be in Dong. I think that's somewhere in China. So we'll fix all of this. The date's incorrect there. The day's incorrect. That's in Celsius. So we'll fix all of that. Let's see what else is over here. That brings us to our apps. All right. And this, what's this? This is our media player. So this is our equalizer. That's cool. What else is here? All right, so this is a radio. All right. So our radio works. It seems to have preserved, I guess the memory is all within my radio from the Lexus radio here. And it's preserving whatever the memories I had from the prior radio. So that's pretty cool. AM. I don't listen to AM stuff at all. Favorites. Let me check the steering wheel control, see if that works. Yep, volume works. We're good there. Presets. Okay, I can't get the presets to work, but let me see here. So it's changing my stations here on the forward and back button here. And if I press on the mode on the steering wheel, okay, it seems to be cycling through the different modes, and this might be my video player, I think. And then back there. All right, so steering wheel controls, they work, so we're good with that. And this is playing from my Spotify, I think. Let's skip the track. My steering wheel controls, let's see if that'll do anything. Yep, that also changes that too. I like the cover art, and it also tells you your phone's being connected and your battery life, which is pretty cool. All right, so far it's been good. So let's see what else we can do with this. I'm gonna bring you guys up close to the radio so we can take a look and see what's here. But for the most part, hazard, before I go there, hazard works. And then our USB-C, let me see, does this, it looks like it should light up. Let me see if that does anything. Ah, it does. So these do light up, so that way it helps you see exactly where the ports are when you go to charge it. Let me see if my phone will charge. Let's see if I plug this in right there. Let's plug in the phone. Oh, we have charge. All right, so pretty cool. So it's not a gimmick thing, it works. So far with me just looking at this, my only critique is I would wish that there was an LCD screen that was here. Now maybe it's something where I've been spoiled having an LCD screen here with the factory ones and my other radios. And so it would have been nice to have something here just to show me either the time or the airbags, or whichever the case it is. But just having this being blank here, that's probably my only critique about the radio. But so far, this radio looks really nice. The knobs here, the way how they look, the sequence, the screen, it just looks very sleek. So if you really like that GX550 radio style look, this is it for you. I'm still warming up to it because this is something that I haven't really ventured into, but for the most part, it looks nice. Okay, guys, so let's go through the settings. Let's see what this looks like and what it does. So let's go back to the gear selection here. We have our Wi-Fi, GPS, Bluetooth, general factory wired settings, protocol settings, display, sound, app storage, location, passwords and account system, about device. Okay, so there's that. Our Wi-Fi, let's turn this on and let's see if it'll connect to my Wi-Fi, which it already has. So we're good there. Now we have Wi-Fi up here. All right, so okay, so what else do we have? Network settings, hotspot and tethering. Okay, GPS. This tells us our location currently, which I don't want you guys to see, so I'm going to blur this part out, but it tells you how many satellites are within the area. Bluetooth. All right, so let's pair my phone. Let's go ahead and device name. I did put that as GX550, and let's go back to my phone and let's pair that real quick. So let's see here. I'm going to go into Bluetooth on my phone, and let's see if I can find. So I think it's gonna be this one here, this SYU Android. So I'm gonna pair that. I'm not going to allow it for now at least. Let's see what it does. Bear with me. Let's give this a second, because you know it's the weekend and so it's taking its sweet time. Let's see here. Incorrect PIN and password key. Well, it says right there. It says SYU Android connected. Okay. Let me go back here. Doesn't show. So my device isn't here. Connection preference. Okay. Cast. Okay. I want to say that this is connected because it says that right there on the phone. So we'll figure it out. Let's go through all this. Let's keep on going through the settings here. Press any key to start. Auto start navigation. Okay. Navi apps, maps. Home window application. So I guess you can choose which app you want to have it to be on a home when you go to the home page. So we'll leave that where it's at. Control, customizations. That's part of the same thing. Voltage display. So let's see here. Yeah, so you can turn that on or off. I like to leave it there. Even though I have my scan gauge over here to my left, it's always nice to have an extra spot to take a look at. So fan setting, let me see here. Our CPU fan, yeah, I'm not gonna mess with this. I'm gonna leave this alone. Automatic open after startup. And okay, application before turning off the engine, channel before shutdown. So I guess you can have this boot up on whatever last app that you've been using when you come back to your vehicle. So let's say you go shopping, you come back to your car, turn it back on, and whatever app you had that was open prior, it's going to automatically come back to that screen, or at least come back to that application. So I'm going to leave it on the home screen. So let's keep on going. Lamp. Okay, I'm not going to mess with that. We'll leave that out. Okay, mirror view on reverse image. Oh, well, let me see. Let's see if I gotta turn this back on. If our backup sensors, if our backup camera works, right? And okay, so we don't have a backup camera. 2D front, side. Well, obviously, if I had uh, a 360 camera, that would show, which I don't have. All right, so we're gonna figure this out because we don't have a camera. Front, right, rear. Okay. Sorry for the annoying sound. All right, let me just go back to the. Whoa, that did something. Let's put this back in park. Okay. Oh, that went away. Okay, let me go back to settings. Where were we? General, right? So we'll figure out the mirror. I mean, we'll figure out the backup camera in a moment. Steering wheel settings. Yeah, okay, I don't know what this is. Let's not mess with that. Okay, we're gonna skip all that. Automatic start settings. Okay, so none of that really is a concern to me. Factory. So the password for this, according to my user manual, I think it was 3368. Okay, so we're in. So touch check. I don't know what is that? Okay, so let's. Is it a game? Is it a game? I don't know. So let's. I guess it's just a calibration screen for your touch. Yeah, I guess so. Okay, so that works. Set the screen. Yeah, I'm not gonna mess with that. Display margin settings. I think that just tells you how much you want to change the margin on the screen. So we're not gonna mess with that. Leave that alone. Home screen, home launcher selection. So, okay, so given that this is an Android, you can more than likely download your own launcher on this and make it your own and customize that, which is really cool. So we're gonna leave that alone. HD reversing video format, AHD, I don't know what that is. We'll leave that alone. Switch back car camera, enter 4 channel 360. Oh, let me see here. Okay, let's try this out. I think this is our problem, right? So default and yada yada, reboot take effect. Okay, let me just reboot this. All right, so that went off. It should turn back on, hopefully. You're seeing this in real time with me. Okay, so there's our boot up screen. We're gonna change that. Because if this is our welcome screen every single time we come back into the car, that's gonna be annoying to take a look at. Android, all right. Okay, so we're back on our home screen. Now let's see if the reverse camera will come back on since we made that change. Boom, all right, so there's our backup camera. And man, this thing is so washed out. And this is my OEM backup camera. I really need to switch this out for an aftermarket because this is just ugly. So we have our OEM backup trajectory lines, and then you have the aftermarket one from the radio itself. I'm sure we can turn that off. And then this shows us our parking sonars. Since I have a backup, since I have a spare tire, which is right here, it's detecting it off the bat. So it's just pinging and ringing like crazy. So I apologize for that. But sonars, they work. So that's thumbs up there. Let me put this back in park. So let me go back. Where was that setting at? So I think it was factory. Was it here that we were at? So let me go back here again. Okay, so that's what it was. So it was default. So if you have the OEM 360 camera, that's where you would want to leave it. Or if you have an aftermarket one and you spent that time doing that, that's where you would go to, I would assume. But that fixes. So now we have a backup camera. All right, so front view. Oh, I did plug in my front camera, so let me see if that works. Cancel the reverse into front view. Oh, no, we don't want to do that. Let's turn that off. Cancel the reverse into recorder. Okay, don't know what that is. All right, boot screen. Oh, boot screen logo. Oh, so here it is. So I have nothing, obviously. So I wonder if I can just, is there a default? So, okay, root directories, USB, supports PNG. Okay, so you can definitely add your own custom boot logos. So I'm going to more than likely download my Lexus logo and put it in there. So if it does boot back up, I won't be seeing that. It'll be the Lexus logo instead. So at least I know where it's at now. Very cool. All right. So 360 switch, we don't have to worry about that. So back mic, switch, and post mic. So this, I believe, so we have the option to have the external mic and also the mic that comes with the radio itself. Now down over here, I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's a mic button here. And that button here, hang on, let me bring this back up or back down. This mic right here, you can talk into. So you can use that. If you have the external mic, you can mount that somewhere along the areas there, but that's where this is at. Let me bring this back up. Okay, so antenna normally on, brake wire for video and motion. So I think you can turn this on if you want to disable the ability to drive your vehicle having like YouTube or Netflix playing. So if you had that enabled, then that will disable the use of that. So we're going to leave this alone because I have kids and they love watching movies, so we're going to keep that off. And let's see, what else do we have? Unknown sources. Okay. I think that's it for the factory. So wired settings, external, all right, main different contents, mirror projection screen, external screen, and okay, so let's see. I'm going to turn our attention back over to the digital cluster. Let's see if this will mirror this onto my cluster. So hang on. Okay, so I want us to focus our attention back over here. So I'm going to navigate down to, it should be navigation. So if I hang on to the enter button, so hold enter to enter navigation. So let's see what this does. All right, it's doing something. Oh, there we go. So it works, you guys. That's pretty cool. So if we want to go into navigation, let me see. I'm going to just press route. All right, I don't know what that is. So that gives all of our stats, our mileage and whatnot. So let's go there. And we have to set up our. All right, so we have that. I'm going to blur this out because I don't want you guys to know where I live. But let me just go to a separate spot that I can show you guys. So there's our map, you guys. So it works. So the CarLink Live digital cluster works with the DryMat radio. Now, given I believe they're all made in the same location generally, so I don't see why this wasn't working. My other radio through Hamilton, you guys know, didn't work, but these two, they work. So that's going to be confirmed. So if you guys have this cluster, know that this also works with that. All right, so back to our screen here. Let's go back down again. So wired setting, we just came back from that. So we confirmed that this works with the digital cluster. So car model, ooh, let's see here. I don't know what this is. Okay. So I think this is where we can change you guys saw from earlier, we had the home screen that has the Lexus, the Toyota Prado. So I'm assuming that you can change this. So it changed that. Whoa, I don't know what happened there. Let me go back to the home screen. So that didn't do anything. So that didn't change that. All right. Let's go back to that same thing again because we were on a Ford and we don't want the Ford because we don't have a Ford. Let me go back up. Mazda. I think this might be for different types of radios that it's compatible with. So Toyota, I'm going to go Lexus. I'm going to go 2014 because I have a 2015 and we'll keep that right there. All right. So let's see here. What else do we have here? Automatic startup, radar switch. Okay. Protocol print units. We want to have not kilometers. Yeah, we have miles. Tire pressure, we want to have PSI because we're here in the States, right? So we want to have that. Air conditioning switch. Don't know what that is. External temperature. So you can go from Fahrenheit to Celsius, depending on where you live. Reverse trajectory switch. Oh, okay. So let's see. If I turn this off, if you guys remembered earlier, we had those extra trajectory lines, and they're gone. So if you turn this off or on, that shows it right there. So there's our answer, guys. I'm turning that off. I'm not going to keep that on. We don't need to have two different types of situations there. Okay, door switch. Door switch. I think if I had the doors open, does it chime or have a logo? Let's see. And there we go. My driver door is open. That tells you right there that it's open. Very cool. All right, so driver's door position on the left. So since we're in the US, we're left-hand drive. I think if it was right, if you're on the opposite side, you would switch that and go from the right, which we're going to leave that alone. Rear door left and right swapping. I'm going to leave that where it's at. Original car sound channel, TV. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Display. All right, so this is something that I can deal with later. Screensaver, auto switch, wireless display switch. The theme. Let me see here. Okay, so that basically just changes the background. This is too bright for me. I like things on the dark side, so. All right, I think that's it. What else do we have here? Sound. So default volume switch. Okay. All right. Keypad tone, loud. I don't know what that is. Amp on or off. I think that's more for audio. So, all right. So we'll have to revisit that later. Okay. Volume balancing, subwoofer, equalizer. I think we saw that earlier. Yeah, which was that. Okay. Mic gain, speed, compensated volume. So if you like to have the volume raised, um, to be raised or to be lower, depending on how fast you or how slow you drive, you would turn this on, which I don't like doing that. That's annoying to me. Okay, next one is apps. We have 32 apps installed. This shows you all the apps in the vehicle. Mind you, you do have a Google Play Store, so you can download apps into the system itself. Storage, we have 111 gigabytes free, 13% is being used. Okay, so we have that. All right. Location, we have that. Passwords and accounts. Okay, I'll set that up later. Systems. Oh, okay, so language and input, we can see what that is. Languages, obviously English. So date and time. So let's see here. We want to correct that because that time there is not correct or at least accurate, I believe. Actually, it should be now. It's 11:20. Okay, so I think that's okay. All right, so if you want to set your time, you can do it manually or you can do it automatically. So the dates here is correct, which is November 22nd. We're almost towards Thanksgiving, Black Friday. Are you guys shopping for Black Friday? Because I am. Because are you guys shopping for Black Friday? Because I sure am. It's going to be expensive. All right, so that's going to be it. And let's go back here. Software updates. Do I have an update? I'm connected onto Wi-Fi. Let's see if there's anything here. Okay, so I guess this is the current version. All right, so we're good there. Status info. So this shows you all the things that's about the status of that and serial number and whatnot, which we're not gonna get into. Okay, so that is the menu settings there for us. Now I'm gonna go back into CarPlay and get that going. So let's see here. I'm gonna go back to the home screen here. And so CarLink 2.0, let's connect that. So my phone should be connected because it does say that it was connecting. Verification approved and waiting. Oh, on my phone it says connect. Well, so let me connect that. All right, so we are in CarPlay. This is going to be 90% of where I'm going to spend a lot of my time, or at least where this radio is going to be sitting at, which is CarPlay. Phone, maps, messages, now playing, back, podcast, audiobooks, settings. Okay, so we have my normal apps that I have there, and of course your widgets and where your location's at. Okay, so let's see here. Maps, which I mainly do use. I had to blur this out again. Can't have you guys finding out where I live. 3D maps, that works. Okay, so if you want to go back, you have to put your finger down here and go back to the back button. Well, now brought us all the way out from CarPlay. Let's go back and reconnect. Waiting for device to connect. All right, so right now the car is kind of balancing between my phone and also I'm using my DJI Pocket 3, which also uses Bluetooth. So they're conflicting with each other now. So that's a little bit annoying. So I have to turn off my phone connection to the camera, and that should work. So right here, this shows us our type of connection, frames per second standard. I wonder if I go high, would that change anything? Automatic connection. Yes, we want to have automatic connection. Okay. And let's just exit out, I guess. Let's go back into it. All right, so we're back in. So let's see here. Go back to the main menu. And let's see what the menu settings are for CarPlay. So we can change. Looks like our appearance. Automatic. Yep. I'm going to go dark. I like things dark. Always show dark maps. Nope. Customize icons. You can change this to however you like. I'm gonna keep it on the dark theme. I like things dark because I'm dark myself. Alright, so wallpaper, you can change the wallpaper to whichever one you like. Let's keep that one there. Alright, let's set that. Because you're finding out all about this as I'm going through this. So we are going through this together. So display. Okay, we'll leave that where it's at. Accessibility. Text size, bold size. Okay, I think that's it. We'll leave that where it's at. And that's gonna be it for the settings. Okay, so let's go back here. All right, guys, let's see how the Spotify works. So since we know that CarPlay is working, I want to make sure that the radio and the media stuff works, right? So let me just hit the play button here. And okay. Steering wheel controls. Yeah, they work. I like that the volume shows up there. Cool. All right, so that all works. Very good. So one thing I do want to check, guys, is hang on for a second. Let me zoom us back out. Okay, so what I do want to check is I know my past radio, it has two volume controls, right? You have the volume control here and also the volume control down over here. So does that have any effect? Let's find out. I'm going to crank up the radio here for the volume. Okay, so that has an effect. So they both work together. So, yep. All right, guys. So basically, once you have, because there's two different volumes, because if you guys take a look, there's this one here. This is the main radio, right? And the one on top here, this is going to be for the dry mat radio. So dry mat and OEM radio here. So I guess at this point, it's more about just finding where your volume's at, which I'll configure later. And once you leave it there, this is going to be the main button you're going to use for the volume. All right, so at least we know about that. Okay, so now that we know that the four things I'm more concerned about with this radio, which most radios is, we have as long as we have CarPlay, we have that. We confirmed that. We've also confirmed that um, the climate control that works too as well. We've confirmed that. And three, we confirmed that CarPlay works, which is great. We've confirmed that. The last thing I want to confirm is going to be, well, actually, the fourth thing out of five things. I think I kind of messed up, but we want to make sure that the audio works, and that means the balance and fade. Let's see if that works. Because again, I listen to music and I'm not an audiophile, but I like to listen to music and I like to make sure that the sound is at least there. So, again, we have volume. All right. Let's go back to the home screen and go back to, I think it's going to be the equalizer, right? All right, so here's our equalizer. I like the fact that it gives us a broad range of how we can customize this to fit our needs, because the factory radio, because I have the base model GX460, so I don't have the Mark Levinson sound system. Now, I do know that this also works with that. So if you guys have a Mark Levinson GX460, this works. So I love the fact that you can customize this to whichever ways you want. Let me see here. I'm going to go through this. So DTS, so that obviously works. 4.1, 5.1 channel, focus, true bass. So you can do all that. And then let's go back to EQ. Let me see here. If I hit the loud button, oh, that's pretty cool. So I'm used to this actually. This brings back some memory. Oh, that's really cool. So it basically just amplifies the music, but it also adds more richness to us, and it also deepens the bass, which I like to have bass. All right, so I will customize this on my own time. Field. All right, so here we are. This is gonna be our fade and balance, right? Let's see. All right, so this is all driver side now. All passenger. Oh, that's too far back. Oh, there we go. So music come back over here now, and music come back over here to the back of my seat now. All right, so that works. Very cool. So we confirm our fade and balance works. All right, surround. I'll mess with this on my own time. Okay, we have that. Stereo is off. Reverb turned off. Bass enhancement. Ooh, let's see here. Oh yeah, very cool. All right, I can feel the bass, man. That just made a big difference. And that's not me trying to mess with the EQ just yet. All right, so I will mess with this on my own time, but just understand that you guys have the option to dial this up to whichever fits your needs, right? That's pretty cool. Pop, all, jazz. All right, so very cool. All right, so if you want to bounce between, when it comes to music, you can bounce between your CarLink Live, which is you can use your Spotify and whatever music media player you utilize, you can do that. And then if you go back to media, you can bounce between your Spotify and whatnot, and also your radio, which is right over here. So this is our radio. So that all works. Okay, so I guess now the last thing we want to do is we want to reconnect back onto our Wi-Fi, and let's test the apps out, right? Let's test YouTube. That's gonna be my last and final thing about having this radio, because that's what I mainly use. So your miles will vary. So depending on what you use, that's gonna be up to you. For me, I like to use things that works around my life, right? So let's open up the YouTube app. It says we're offline, which we shouldn't be. We just connected onto the internet. Did I just get kicked out? Okay, let's go back and reconnect. We're connected, okay? Let's go back. still connected. Click on YouTube. Go home. So I think, I believe you have to sign in, right? Let me find myself and search. Okay, so there's one of my videos. All right, so YouTube works, you guys. Let's go to full screen. And of course, we can't go on YouTube without having YouTube ads. There's M and his GX460. All right, so that works. So let me go ahead and get out from this. So when you minimize the screen, you still have some playing over here, which is pretty cool. But we're gonna just X out of this. And then give me a moment. I'm gonna be right back. Let me download the Netflix app onto the home screen here, and I'll come right back. Okay, so very cool. Let's see here. I went into my Google Play Store. I had to go back and put my account back in there, but basically I went back, got the account back, logged back in, downloaded the app, and now we have it here. So let's open this app. Let's go back here and let's play. So now we have it. All right, so very cool. But all right, guys, let's get this out. And that's going to be basically it. So I think we've narrowed things down to where it fits my needs. All right, so let's see about if we can change the vehicle here. So I contacted my supplier, Eric, and he's informed me how to change this. So let's go ahead and try that. So he told me if we just pressed onto the car itself. All right, so there we go. Since this is based off the Lexus and also Toyota Land Cruiser Prado, this gives us plenty of color choices to choose from. So obviously, since mine is the GX460, we have the Lexus base version, and I have the Nebula gray color. Let's go with this one. And all right, so you can see you can choose different colors depending on what vehicle you have, right? So that's pretty awesome. Let's go back here. What does this? Okay, so this changes the orientation if you have it where it's where it's the Tesla style screen, you can have that option there. And let's keep that. And if let me see, what's this? Oh, there we go. So we have it. So there's that. So now we can use that. Now he did tell me that I can upload my own picture of my vehicle and put it here. And I'll do that at a later time, but at least for now, we changed the vehicle to where it matches with my vehicle now. Okay, so I am going to remove my cloth here to protect the radio. I'm going to snap this back into its location, and we're going to finish the installation. All right, so just snap back in. We're good to go there. Let me go ahead and just snap this piece here. Make sure it lines up with those same hooks again. All right, so there's that. That's in. Put back in my engine start button here. And push that in. And we'll do the rest. But that's pretty much it, guys, with the installation and also the not complete overview of the radio, but just enough to get you by. At least for me, for my purpose, this was more than enough for me because it's for my use, right? So your use may vary, but for me, this is what I mainly use it for. So again, I want to make sure that the vehicle climate control works, CarPlay works, the audio sounds good, and making sure I had YouTube and Netflix also work with that. So my only gripe about this is just the fact that I wish this part here had again a screen, but that's my only criticism with this. But everything else about the fan controls here, they all work. The knobs here, they all work just fine. It will get some, obviously with something that's new for technology, it'll take some time to learn new habits, right? And so since it doesn't have physical fan buttons, that's okay. I can work with that because the buttons over here works just the same way. I want to give a huge shout out to Eric over at DryMat for reaching out to me and allowing me the opportunity to try out the radio. And so far, it's been great. And so again, shout out to DryMat. So you guys have seen the unit. It looks stellar. It looks awesome. I have some real exciting news. Eric over at DryMat has been able to give us, you, my audience, an exclusive discount to this exact same unit or others like it just in time for Black Fridays. So the link is down below in the description. You guys can use code DRIVEWAYBUILT460 to save at the checkout. So there you have it, guys. Another radio for us, another option for us as well. So there's plenty of other radios that will fit everyone's needs. And I know that the price for this, they're all going to be relatively priced similarly in some ways. But I know that there are places like AliExpress and Alibaba, you can buy the exact same radio or something similar to this and for a lot less. But I feel like sometimes dealing with somebody who is able to answer all your questions and give you the support that you need, it just goes a long way. Yeah. So having said that, it all just depends on you, right? You can source this radio from whichever place you want online, and it's perfectly fine. I am just blessed with the opportunity to have companies reach out to me and allow me to test out their products and try them out and just showcase them to you guys so you guys can have more options to choose from. So whether it be this radio or the other ones that I've had on my channel before in the past, it's really up to you guys. But that being said, I enjoy the radio. I think it looks really sleek. If you like the GX550 style of the radio or the infotainment screen, then that's really up to you because everyone has different preferences. And so this might just be yours. But hey guys, just real quick, we are so close to getting to 2,000 followers on the YouTube channel. We're just so close, right? And I feel like we can get there by the end of the year. And I know I have that support from you guys. So again, if you guys are new to the channel, my name is Eddie. I showcase products, obviously now at this point, and I off-road. So that's the content that I put out there. If you guys like what I do, like what I put out there, do me a huge favor because it just will help me greatly and just help the channel out. Like the channel, comment down below, let me know what your thoughts are, and subscribe to the channel. I would greatly appreciate that. Thank you guys so much for watching this, and I'll see you guys on the next adventure. Peace out, guys.